be right back, actually. Hold on a second. I got something pissing me off. I got to go to the bathroom for a second. There we go. How's it going? 32 seconds from going live. I'm in. That's right. You got your notifications. I'm late. I know. Just coming back from a hike. Hopefully the stream is better quality. Let me know how it is. I think I fixed it doing something, but I want to see what the comments are like before I claim victory. Hold on. Let me pop this out. I gotta do this every time since it kind of resets every fucking time. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. There we go. And that will just sit right here. Tell you how I became a prince of a town called Bel Air. Okay. So how's it going, people? How's it going? How's it going, BM? You are the first person here, so you get my undivided attention. How's the stream quality, by the way? I know it's been suffering the last few times, but I think a typhoon. Oh, are you in the Philippines or are you in Japan? I forget where you are. What's up, Steve? Everyone check in SAR. Everyone like and subscribe and whatever. I don't know. Sound is perfect. Video has a packet loss every 10 seconds. Damn it. All right. Is it stuttering, though? Okay. I actually went to Japan once 15 years ago. It was one time. It was actually for a mission trip with my church. Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to approve, but I connected it directly, my computer directly to the Ethernet of my fucking router. So if that doesn't fucking fix this shit, I don't know what the fuck will. I don't fucking know. This is a lower stream. Maybe I should get a new computer. I don't fucking know. Only thing is, this computer's like less than a year old, so it feels like, oh god. That's fine. Look, no one's watching the stream for the aesthetics, clearly. I don't got this neon shit going on, you know, with my fucking gamer chair and, you know, all this shit set up nice and fucking autistically, nice and neat. Yeah, that's not gonna fucking happen. You're here for the takes. That's right, Steve. You're here for the motherfucking takes. You won't get anywhere else. Like, where else would you get a take like WMA mind virus? Basically explaining everything about Western women, comprador shit in the West. You know, betraying. They're selling out their own men, really. You know, I mean, I say the WMAF mind virus, but really it applies to every single like non-white woman. You know, in the imperial core. They just all, like that Iranian fucking, you know, feminist who met with Pompeo. But today I'm actually eating McDonald's. I couldn't go to Burger King because I didn't have time. I was coming back, so I was like, oh fuck, I need to start the stream. So I was like, okay, the fastest thing to get is McDonald's. It's on the way back home for me. I'm just like ordering on the app while I'm driving. I like, this is sacrifices I make for you guys, right? But one thing was interesting. I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but I'm sure you did. If you ever ate McDonald's in your life, you'd probably know about this. But there's like they every year they play like this Monopoly thing. And I used to be really into Monopoly when I was a kid, right? I don't know how it was actually supposed to be a critique on capitalism, right? But you kind of figure that out when you play it. Because at the end of the game, one person has all the fucking properties, right? If you play it long enough, right? If you play the game long enough, the point is to show you that one person ends up with all the fucking money. So it's funny because, like, it's meant to be a critique of capitalism, but nobody understands the critique. They're like, oh yeah, I need to get more money. I need to fucking pass go and collect $200. And so I can somehow make all the money, right? That's the story, or that's the idea. Let's see if I won anything. So I would be fucking obsessed with this shit as a kid. Connecticut Avenue. Let's see. Connecticut Avenues. Oh. If I get all three, I would get a Polaris, which is a car, I think. I don't fucking know. Let's see. Let's see what I got on my... I think it's on the back of this. Hold on. But yeah, it'd definitely be like this fucking racket, because what they would probably do, or they do, right, is that they give you like... Oh, what the fuck? They give you some instant wins, like a free sandwich or whatever, but to win the fucking thing, get all three, what they would usually do is like make two really common, right? So you think you're like almost there, and then they make the third one rare as fuck, obviously, because you can't have everyone winning. Let's see, Red Illinois Avenue, Kennedy Space Center trip. That's fucking lame. Why would I want... Oh, God, terrible. Terrible! But now, I need to put my ketchup. I got some ketchup packets. See, this is why I save ketchup packets, guys. Because the McDonald's people, they don't give you them unless you fucking ask for it, and I forgot to ask. So, old ketchup packets it is. That's the Korean, that's the Asian American way. That's the Asian American, if you grew up as a second generation Asian American kid, you know what I'm fucking talking about. You know what I'm fucking talking. I actually don't like Taco Bell, to be honest. I wasn't into like even Mexican food until I came to LA. And then once I got Mexican food in LA, I'm like, why would I get Taco Bell or fucking... Though I do get Chipotle, so... But that's only because there's no good taco trucks near, or burrito trucks nearby. I actually don't like tacos compared to burritos. I like more burritos, to be honest. It's just like tacos are just... They're like not as... it doesn't have all that stuff in it like a burrito does. You don't have... I feel like tacos, you gotta like fucking... there's a little bit of DIY assemblage going on. I'm just kind of like... Just give me the fucking burrito, you know what I mean? Carne asada fries were the best. Oh, did Taco Bell have carne asada fries? But yeah, they've had this fucking monopoly shit for a long fucking time. But I had Burger King last time. I figured, why not get McDonald's? Oh, yeah. My favorite burrito place in LA is kind of in the Cesar Chavez area, though I think they moved. It's called La Azteca Tortilla. But what's funny about that place is my friend actually met what's his name? The actor who plays Raymond Cruz. The actor plays Tuco Salamanca. But it's kind of funny because, like, my friend was like, hey, can I get a picture with you? And he was, like, so down to earth, apparently. But, how much is a regular burrito? Dude, at fucking, so I get carne asada at, where is it? I get carne asada at Chipotle when I do go. I get sour cream as well. Carne asada burrito with sour cream. I don't get avocado. Or do I get avocado? I might get some guacamole, actually. Do I get guacamole? I might. Anyway, it costs like $16 fucking dollars. Guacamole or no, that's fucking ridiculous, right? That's fucking crazy. $16 for fucking just a burrito with, I guess, guacamole and sour cream. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? That's why I don't get Chipotle that often. Though I guess like everything is fucking expensive now. I mean, I guess this value meal was $10 with tax. So, better value than the fucking Burger King Whopper value meal. But still a lot more expensive than it used to be, right? Anyway. As many of you may know, the fucking markets took a dive on Friday. Because, well, yeah, Trump said we're going to have 100% tariffs on China. And it's funny because, like, these contradictions of, like, oh, sanctions don't really work, or tariffs don't really work when the country can just sell to other people. Like, the whole concept of tariffs is like, you want to make the other person's stuff more expensive, so you encourage your own industry, whatever. But that doesn't really work when you don't have your own industry in place to make that shit. So let's say if China has rare earths, right? That America does not. Tariffing China just doesn't do shit because you can't make that shit. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot for no reason. But of course, because in American history, after the post-war era, you could get anything in America, right? America was the workshop of the world, right? That used to be England, but then American, you know, obviously after World War II, that became America. And so tariffs were really effective because if you wanted the best goods of anywhere, you had to go to America to get it. But yeah, nowadays, these days especially, you know, because Americans are literally too retarded now. Like, literally. Even if we wanted, even if we had access to all these rare earth mines ourselves, we don't even have the fucking skilled, like, fucking engineers or technicians or, you know, academics who've even fucking researched this shit. Well, the workshop of the world, Adam, was actually used for England for the longest time. But yeah, it kind of like more people today probably think of America, right? For that. So it's kind of like a few days ago, I kind of jested, like, with the rare earth shit or whatever. I was like, yeah, you dumb fucks. Why would China, when you're saying, fuck China, we need to destroy China, we need to kill Chinese people. You're saying this all the fucking time, the American government, right? Especially the right wing, because they're fucking psychopath lunatics. And then they're like, hey, how dare you not sell us these weapons or these rare earths that we use to build our F-35s, our fucking nuclear submarines, and all these other fucking shit to kill you with. Like, how dare you? Like, do Americans realize how retarded they sound? And it's like anyone who has ever played StarCraft and would be like, yeah, in a war between America and China, guess who's going to require more minerals? Guess who's going to require more Vespene gas? Because China has been mining Vespene gas and fucking minerals since the 1980s. Like, since the 1980s, apparently, China has been developing research for these rare earths. Because guess what? Deng Xiaoping knew what was up. Everyone was like, the entire fucking Western liberal leftist fucking community are all fucking retarded. Because they were like, oh, China betrayed the revolution. China went the capitalist road. You dumb fucks. You are fucking retarded. See, what Mao was doing was kind of retarded, I hate to say it, but it kind of was. I mean, it wasn't at the beginning, right? Obviously, the PLA helped Korea and helped Korea establish itself. Helped the Vietnamese, even though they don't like to admit it, or the ultras don't like to admit it, but they did help the Vietnamese as well. So those were two successful Maoist projects. But what they don't tell you, what the fucking Chinese ultras don't tell you, is that they had projects all over Southeast Asia as well. But they failed, right? They lost Indonesia. That was the biggest thing. Both America, in the Cold War, both America and China were targeting Indonesia heavily because it was, it had a lot of fucking resources and a lot of fucking people. So they lost Indonesia, which is huge loss, right? They lost Malaysia. And then they lost fucking Cambodia. Which also was due to the fact that they trusted this fucking psychopath retard. That they didn't realize he was a fucking psychopath retard until it was too late, right? So Deng Xiaoping was like, you know what? This Maoist shit ain't working, all right? And look, the Americans kind of are, on their heels right now. They got fucking their ass kicked in Vietnam. But this fucking Soviet Union, they're fucking trying to like fuck with our shit all the time. So Deng Xiaoping was like, you know what? If I pretend like I'm on good relations with the Americans, I'm letting them use our labor for capital development, we don't have to spend so much money on the military anymore because they're not going to fuck with us. They're going to continue to fuck with the Soviets. They're going to direct all their fucking shit to the Soviets as long as we're not intervening in shit anymore. Right? That was number one. But number two was, now that we are not intervening anymore, we don't have to maintain a huge fucking military. But what we can do is spend that money on military development. So what they do is they actually trade. Yes, they trade with Israel. But the reason why is not because they support Zionism, you dumb fucks. It's because they realized, hey, Israel has access to a lot of American military shit. So if we kind of trade with them, we can figure out some of this fucking shit and build it ourselves. Because, you know, China, even though they had a lot of money from, you know, not hiring all these soldiers now, they couldn't just go to the American military and be like, hey, you want to sell us your F-16 technology or whatever? No. What they did was like, hey, Israel, what's up, guys? You know? And Israel, being the greedy fucks they are, didn't fucking probably realize this shit. Because they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, they're all fucking, you know, Nazi pieces of shit about the Muslims all the time. So they didn't even fucking realize what was going on. So Deng Xiaoping is acquiring all this technology from Israel. And then from that technology, they're like, oh, they need a lot of rare earths to build some of this fucking military equipment. So the Chinese government was like, hey, this is going to be a big thing. Because he in 1980, he was actually, Deng Xiaoping, you could look this up. The Washington Post in 1980 interviewed Deng Xiaoping. And he said World War III is inevitable. Now, he did say that in the context, he thought it was going to be between the USSR and America. But if that's his mentality, that World War III is inevitable, guess what he's going to fucking do? He's going to prepare China for fucking war. So yeah, his plan was to gather all the fucking PLA, stop the fucking, you know, permanent revolution Trotskyite shit that was also proven wrong after the Poland experiment with the Soviet Union, right? That's why Lenin was like, yeah, this shit doesn't work anymore. We got to pull out of Poland. Clearly, we got to use economic, you know, that's what when he introduced the NEP. And that's what fucking Deng Xiaoping exactly did. He was like, look, this fucking permanent shit is not working anymore. So we got to develop our economic communism now. And then now look what's happening. Deng Xiaoping, the fucking master, is proven right all the fucking along. Because now it's America who's like, oh, fuck. We don't have rare earths anymore. We can't bully China anymore. We have no leverage anymore. Even if we wanted to go with war with China, that would probably be a bad idea considering we do not have access to minerals because we require more minerals. Right? So all you dumb fuck leftists who don't understand war at all, this is a lesson to you dumb fucks, right? This is a lesson that if you want to win a war, what's the first thing you kind of try to do? You just try to fucking destroy their SCVs. You try to like kill their supply line. You try to destroy their ability to make shit. That's why I'm just kind of like Western leftists. If you don't have any concept of like mathematics or fucking military shit, you're useless. Like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, if you're not an engineer or a military analyst or at least mathematically inclined, you're just worthless as a revolutionary. You just are. Well, not as a revolutionary. Maybe as an ideologue. As an ideologue, you have zero value. If you have no math knowledge, no engineering knowledge, or no military knowledge, you are just valueless to the ideology. You cannot contribute a single fucking idea. Bruh. PM. If you look up the top 10 technical universities in the world, I think 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 are Chinese now. It was funny. I was tabling at UCLA again. It was funny. There was this Chinese national who came by, who was like I think he was a PhD student in like, I think artificial intelligence, something like that. And then I was like, wait, why are you studying here? And because like, he said like, oh yeah, I went to Tsinghua University. I was like, wait, what the fuck are you doing here? He kind of laughed. I think some Chinese nationals don't really get it quite yet. They're kind of still like, oh yeah, there's still more freedom in America if you're working in tech or whatever. And it's like, really? You might think that way. But shit's not gonna be, good here in a few years, especially not for fucking. Oh, thanks, Andrew. I try to wear a communist-related shirt every time I stream now. Communism or Breaking Bad related, since I have that from last time. Though now that Walter White, I think, represents Hitler, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Because I so identified with the Walter White character myself. I was like, wait, does that mean I'm Hitler? Does that mean I identify with Adolf Hitler? But, thinking about it, I feel like if that's what Vince Gilligan intended, that's kind of like the point of what he was trying to say, too. Like, for example, he calls it Mr. Chips turning into Scarface, right? And Scarface, as we know, was made by Oliver Stone, who's a heavily anti-capitalist or like pro-communist kind of director. And there's a scene in Scarface that kind of like highlights that, where he's like, you need me to be the bad guy. He's like in a restaurant. It's like the very fancy restaurant, but he's obviously, a drug dealer, right? But it's a fancy restaurant with all these bourgeoisie people around him, whatever. And then he acts out and everyone's looking at him like, oh, who is this? Who is this guy? And then he just like calls them all out. He's like, basically, you guys are just like me. But you need me to be the bad guy to feel better about yourselves at home. You guys are exactly the fucking same as me. But the reason you let me exist is to point at me and say that I'm the bad guy. And when I thought about that, I thought about like what Vince Gilligan was trying to do with it. With like, making Walter White into Adolf Hitler. And it's kind of like the same idea, same concept. It's like the American government, or like Western society in general, needs Hitler to say, hey, that's the bad guy. But us capitalists, we're not like that, at least. That's the baddest thing. But capitalism is actually decent because it's not that. When it's pretty much the same fucking thing. So, I think it's very clever. That was his intention, It's kind of like the idea of like even just Christian morality, right? Like, let him who is without sin cast the first stone, right? Do not judge, or you too will be judged. And that kind of is like the core tenet of Christianity. That there aren't any real levels to how evil one is. Like, everyone is sinful in the Christian faith. And therefore, everyone has a capacity for evil as well. Everyone has capacity for good, but they also have capacity for evil. And that's kind of like a core thing that I kind of grew up with growing up in the church myself. You know, one of the biggest Bible verses I always used to parrot all the time was like, do not judge, or you too will be judged. Matthew 7:1. So the El Pollo Loco guy, Gus Fring, in my theory, if Walter White is Hitler, Gus Fring is Stalin, actually. Because he's meticulous, he's stalwart, you know. He's very, he doesn't, like, buy fancy shit for himself. I mean, yes, he has, like, a nice house and everything, but compared to the level of wealth that he has, it's actually very modest, right? And there's also a scene in Better Call Saul when he's, like, to Lalo Salamanca, where he says, like, you guys are fucking scum. You guys don't know anything about honor. You're all about money. Money, money, money. And then Lalo goes, oh, and you're so different? And then he's like, yes, I am different. Because I understand revenge or whatever. Because I'm going to kill all of you guys, whatever. And it's like, you done? And then, yeah, like, no. And then he kicks the thing and it kills him, right? So in the allegory, Lalo Salamanca is pretty much Trotsky's son. Who Stalin takes out, right? Hector Salamanca would be Trotsky himself, who shoots Lenin. Max, rather, who represents Lenin. But then also is killed by Nacho Varga. So when he becomes fucking wheelchair, in my opinion, he's supposed to represent Khrushchev. Because Khrushchev kills Stalin's legacy. And in the show, Hector kills Gus, right? I don't know if it was all planned like that. So that's a little bit more speculative, but that part, I feel like it would be really cool if that's how it all fucking fits, because I feel like it kind of does. But that's my theory, that the Salamancas are the Trotskyites. Hector being Trotsky himself. You know, before wheelchair, he's Trotsky. After wheelchair, he's Khrushchev. Trotsky himself. The twins are Zinoviev and Kamenev. Tuko, I think, is Bukharin. And Lalo is his son. That's kind of like how I've sort of analyzed it. While the cartel itself would be kind of like a representative of like Franco's Spain a little bit. Because it's in Mexico, right? So, there's kind of like little things I've been sort of building out, but that's more for the second episode. Anyhow, Yeah, I don't know what else. What's going on? What should I talk about? I don't even know what to talk about. I feel the rare earths thing is kind of a short thing. But, you know, it's kind of like a recognition by both Lenin with the NEP and Deng of like, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to build communism, right? So there's one of two ways. We can force it upon people, right? We can invade their places, and if they like communism themselves, it works because that's what the DPRK was. They had Kim Il Sung, who was already starting communist kind of like uprising in the north, and you had Ho Chi Minh, who since fucking before even Mao Zedong even knew about communism, he was fucking doing communist shit. So basically, yes, China helped them, but the reason they were also successful is because they had their own indigenous ideologues that were also like, yeah, we need fucking communism here. Whereas in Indonesia, people didn't really know what it was. There wasn't any like Indonesian communists or in the Philippines, in Indonesia, and Malaysia. You had kind of that in Malaysia a little bit, but then I think Lee Kuan Yew probably fucked that up. I have to look more into that history, but I think that might have happened a little bit there. The communist podcast will continue until morale improves. I don't get it. What is that about? What are you talking about? But yeah. So Deng just was like realized like, look, this shit ain't working. You can't force people to do communism if they don't understand what it is. Right? I mean, he probably also figured out later on that Pol Pot was retarded and had no idea what the fuck he was doing. Because it was Pol Pot had no idea what the fuck he was doing. In building a communist state, he said a lot of the right things or whatever, but yeah, for Pol Pot, it was like he started with the Stalinist purges by just like, he basically started with the purges, right? That's pretty much what happened. But really, it wasn't really purging like people who were anti-communist. It was just purging people he didn't like. Like he just purged Vietnamese people from Cambodia for no reason. It was just fucking scum. Speaking of that, it's just kind of like, I don't understand why Pol Pot supporters don't realize that, a good heuristic is like, whoever the United States supports, usually they're the good guys. And right after the Cambodian, Vietnam invaded Cambodia in 1979, the Americans recognized the Khmer Rouge for the first time. Like, do retards not put two and two together? Like, I don't know how fucking retarded you guys are. Just because you hate Luna Oi and she's fucking retarded. She's literally a WMAF retard. You could have explained that using the fucking WMAF mind virus, not this fucking Pol Pot was right retard theory. Leave it to the Asian man to clean up white people's mess, right? That's what I'm always doing. That's what China's always fucking doing. And that's what I'm fucking saying. Like, not only are Western leftists incompetent at Marxism, they don't even realize that the West, even if it turned communist tomorrow, would still be behind China in development. That's how much fucking China has leapfrogged America already. Like, yeah, you might not have a large petty bourgeois class like we do in the fucking West, where you have the retards with scam coins or, you know, shitty fucking startups that do nothing but, like, you know, yeah, shitty fucking startups that do jack shit but, like, basically steal money from the working class. Like fucking, what is that called? What is that one called? I don't even fucking know. They're all fucking like that. DoorDash, right? Yeah, they're all building fucking DoorDash. They're trying to build DoorDash companies. It's so fucking retarded. Yeah, Luna, I don't even fucking know who she is anymore or what she says anymore. I think she's like so irrelevant. Everyone fucking doesn't even talk to that dumb fuck. When is the AI bubble going to burst? Well, I mean, you saw what a simple tariff announcement did to the markets, right? Fucking crypto went down the shitter. Holy shit. You had like 40% drops in over the weekend. 40-50% drops. I'm like, holy shit. That is a fucking bloodbath. But I don't feel sorry for anyone who fucking lost their shirt. Like, because, like, there's so many people who are leveraging 10x, 100x. I'm like, you guys are fucking retarded. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, holy cow. I'm hearing that, like, there are insiders who are working with Trump. And they're, you know, timing buys and sells, basically, before he says shit that moves the market. And they're just making fucking billions, like Charles Schwab, right? Just fucking making billions of dollars, just like trading off retards on like 100x leverage, getting fucking wiped out. Like, yeah, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen if you're like 100x leveraged and it goes up 1%? That's 100% of your entire fucking position being wiped out. That's what 100x leverage is, you dumb fucks. But the thing is, you wipe out enough people. Now you got a lot of people with nothing to fucking lose. Now you got a lot of desperados. And that is not good for social stability, let me tell you that. You are going to see a lot of stochastic violence. I mean, like, I feel like we're already seeing that shit. Like, even in LA. We had, like, there was this helicopter that just fucking crashed. That's not due to violence or anything. But it's just like, what the fuck is going on? It's just like these helicopters crashing. It wasn't even windy. It was just like a regular fucking sunny day, and Huntington Beach just fucking crashes out of nowhere. Yeah, gold. I told my parents to buy gold like a long fucking time ago. I was like, yeah, like I am. The M1 is out of fucking control after, you know, the stimulus packages, because that's the thing. Yes, we got, you know, our $1,300 checks, but there was like 10 times that going to fucking retarded businesses. You know what was going on? These businesses were getting these, you know, zero cost loans to stay afloat. But they were really fucking grants. They weren't loans. Nobody had to pay back that shit. You had massive fucking fraud during the COVID. of these businesses. What I heard a lot of restaurants were doing in LA, a lot of them that were planning on fucking closing in the next few years anyway, they took all that fucking money and just closed their business. Like millions of fucking dollars. So when you inject all this fucking retarded funny money into the economy, what the fuck do you think is gonna, like, anyone, even if you aren't a communist, if you're just regular supply demand chart, right? Right? Wait, this is supply, this is supply, this is demand, right? If you move up, if you move up supply, right? If you move up supply, what the fuck's gonna, what the fuck do you think's gonna, price goes up. If you move up supply, prices fucking go up. What do you think inflation is, you dumb fucks? That's why, exactly, that's why you have $30 California burritos. So you're like, it was $5 before. Wait, $5 before. And then now we're at $30 fucking burritos. Cause guess what the fucking stimulus packages to all those fake companies were for? It's just fucking making our burritos cost $1 billion. Oh God. That PPP thing was the biggest scam in American history. It's just fucking nonsense. And guess what happened? If you look at LA now, guess what fucking happened? Commercial real estate. You have these retards who think, because apparently in LA, so this is how commercial real estate works. Commercial real estate is valued at how much it's being rented for. So let's say you were renting for $10K a month or whatever, and now your people left, and let's say it was worth like $10 million or something, right? But if you now rent it for, let's say, $5K, now it becomes worth $5 million. So what these fucking retarded people who own a lot of commercial real estate in LA have been doing is just not even renting to anyone, because they're trying to rent at those fucking high prices again so they could sell. But what they don't realize is everyone is fucking doing the same fucking bullshit. And now you just got to glut a fucking commercial real estate that isn't being fucking used. And not only that, you have less demand for that commercial real estate because nobody wants to do a fucking business, restaurant business anymore, because it's terrible right now. And so, yeah, this is all gonna, like, once the market actually fucking tanks and these people have to start renting to, like, make some money back, all that real estate is fucking garbage. Like, yeah, it might say 10 million right now, but it's probably worth like 2 million at this point, you know? Because that's how capitalism works. Capitalism is retarded. It's not a good, efficient system. It literally makes people withhold shit in order for the promise of making more money that will never come. And then they just end up fucking losing more money. More value, actually. But yeah, BM, did you see that Trump is trying to make a $250 bill? I was like, wait, why do they make it $250? But then I realized, oh, it's because they already have a 500 and 1,000 whatever. It's just that was back when they needed a lot of money. This was before computers, right? So they needed a lot of physical money on hand in the banks. So this wasn't like anything over 1,000, I think, wasn't used for circulation. I think they used 500s for a very short period of time, but then those two were only used for fucking reserve, like the Federal Reserve, but also reserve for your banks. Like, because the idea is if any bank wants to loan out money, they need to have a certain amount of that money in reserve, like 10%, let's say. So it'd be easier to have that reserve in big bills. They had up to $100,000 as bills. But yeah, 250 is going to be the next 100. We're just going to have wheelbarrows in 10 years. It's going to be fucking wheeling our cash all around. It's just fucking nonsense. This whole fucking system is nonsense. Everything is nonsense. And I figured that out before I was a communist, right? Because, you know what? Asians study math. Asians look at the fucking markets and be like, this is fucking nonsense. Even without like Marxism at all, I knew like fucking disaster was coming in by the late 2010s. I was like, something is not going to go well here. Because if you look at the fucking graph from 2008, right? It's just like up only. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. But it's kind of funny because like all these fucking libtard or like mainstream media people are like, oh, look at the stock market, it's going up, it's record highs. Like, yeah, because our dollar fucking is worthless now. Yeah, it's up 11%, but guess what? The dollar's down 10%. So nothing fucking happened, you dumb fucks. It's just, guess what? When you sell that shit, the government takes capital gains, you dumb fucks. So yeah, I guess the government wins when inflation causes stock market to go up. I'm a retard, but I do math by feeling and guesswork, and usually 15% or so margin of. I mean, yeah. I mean, as long as you're not, not Asian, you're probably okay at math. Okay enough to see the winds. See where the winds are blowing. You know what I mean? How's the stream so far, by the way, compared to the last few? Is it good? Because I might have to just fucking use an Ethernet cable. The other thing is, I think my roommate's watching Netflix, so that might have been taking up some bandwidth or whatever from the Wi-Fi. So I think this is probably the best way going forward. I have like a 50-foot Ethernet cable. I connected it before when I was uploading 30 gig files. Then I realized I probably don't need 4K when I'm filming myself. So, but yeah. Okay, so I guess the Ethernet cable is working this time. Because I'm still getting the dropped frames thing on my OBS. So that's kind of weird. Alright, let's see if anyone asked any questions. Asked me any AMA in my thing. How should people prepare for the crash? I mean, that's highly dependent on where you live and your mobility and I would say if you're Asian and you're under the age of 30 and you've got a decent amount of money, it's time to consider getting the fuck out of here. But yeah, I'd still be piling cash into gold. Gold, even Lenin says the importance of gold after the revolution, right, in 1923. Unfortunately, he said, we don't live in a world communist society, right? And so we still kind of have to play by capitalism rules, even though, we know that gold is intrinsically worthless, but this is the system, because gold has a lot of properties that make it a really good um, kind of like money, right? And this is kind of like more stuff that I learned when I was actually getting into Bitcoin, right? The reason why people use gold, not just because it's shiny and it looks, ornamental and shit. But there are a lot of properties that make it really good for because it's fungible, right? It's easy to kind of melt into certain sort of weights and standardized shit. There's not a lot of it, so that's a scarcity. So you have to actually spend money to mine it. You have to like use capital to get gold capital. Um, and that kind of like provides like a stability to the value of it because you can't like get a whole bunch at once. It's kind of like you have to extract it and that costs money and blah blah blah. And now you're sort of imputing sort of like labor value into that gold. And then but as a chemical substance, it's also very non-reactive in general as well. So it won't like, rot in the elements or whatever. It'll kind of like stay pretty stable. So that's why gold is valued, because it's scarce, it's fungible, it's not chemically reactive, so it's easy to store. And yeah, for all those reasons. This is something I learned even before being a communist, but retards don't know that. Retards who are like, wait, why is gold going up? Oh, this worthless piece of metal is going up. Oh, Warren Buffett told me it doesn't have any intrinsic value to it, so, like, why is it going up now? Maybe you should have fucking studied Marxism, you dumb fucks. Doug, do you have like a mining rig? I actually mined Monero like 8 years ago. But based on electricity prices in California, I kind of stopped that shit. Electricity is fucking expensive as fuck. And now, like since everyone and their mom is trying to, AI us into Skynet, like fucking Sam Altman, psychopath. Now electricity is even more expensive. Not yet, Andrew, but I do have it. Creature from Jekyll Island, right here. But as you can see, there's a lot of shit on top of that is not going to get through for a while. Wait, let me put in. Maybe it's because I have top chat instead of live chat. Comrade Trump destroying the dollar dominance just 1 year. Yep. Still stutters. God damn it. Well, this is as good as it's gonna get for now. Sorry. Unless someone wants to donate nice computer for me. I'll accept a nice computer if somebody wants to donate that. But until then, I'm not going to probably spend another whatever for a 20-person stream. No offense, guys. Maybe if there's like 2,000 people, I'll be like, all right, I need to get a fucking thing. But whatever. But Lumpia, I would say, yeah, besides gold, I would definitely sell off any treasuries I might own. I would sell off any equities I own. I don't know if I'd short anything right now. I'm just like, I don't know what to do exactly. I wouldn't touch equities either way. It's hard to predict like when the fucking knife's gonna fall, right? Yeah, exactly, BM. I need to get some honeys. Be like, yo, I need to see you in 4K, my guy. And I'm like, But you have M4. It's pretty damn nice. What's M4? Oh, my chip. I mean, I guess, but clearly it's suffering. Wait. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, I was gonna check my NGL, see if anyone asked me any questions. Hey, does any of my followers? No questions. Does any of my followers live in Hong Kong at all? I might go to Hong Kong in March. God. Yeah, that might be true, but investing in Palantir is just like buying stock in Satan. Like, yeah, you might make some money, but it's satanic money. You might make some shekels. You might make 30 pieces of silver if you if you buy Palantir stock. But do you really want that 30 pieces of silver? So yeah, I might go to Hong Kong in March. Not 100% yet. But on that note, do people who've never spoken Chinese before, learn Chinese? Can you tell me like what's the best way to learn Chinese quickly? This is only for if you're not Chinese at all, you never learned Chinese growing up, and you learned it later in life. I don't know if anyone's out there like that, but kind of need a crash course maybe. But yes, it is the. Yeah, no, I. All right, never mind. Whatever. I mean, that's kind of been. Or whatever. I'm talking to this chick, all right? And right now we are using that because AI is just, when you use WeChat, AI just fucking auto translates, right? She's talking in Chinese, I'm talking in English. But it might be a little different using that IRL. Why would jjajangmyeon make me fluent? The Chinese version of jjajangmyeon is not good in my opinion. I don't like the Chinese style one. Yeah. But I'm not going to see her in a while. Until March, probably. And she's not we're not, we just like, we're just chatting. We're not like in a relationship or anything. Oh yeah, just, hey, I'm a random American you met on the internet. I'm just going to move in. Yeah, that's going to work. No, she's from the mainland, Andrew. She moved to Hong Kong. Part of me thinks like I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's a 5% chance she's a crypto scammer, and this is like some sort of elaborate crypto scheme. So I'm kind of like still hesitant to like, make any concrete plans just yet. Just kind of like feeling it out and seeing if the crypto scam is in the works. I feel like if there's no crypto scam or no whatever, like ask me about crypto or anything in the next 2 months, I'm like, all right, we're probably in the clear. Watch the Karl Marx anime until you know the subtitles. That's the other thing too. Like Chinese is like impossible to read. But then how do you fucking learn You can't read what's going on. Like, you gotta learn how to read first. But then, do people just like learn pinyin? I guess. Anyway, I've said too much. My ops are gonna use this against me. I know. I already know. I already know. They're like, oh, this passport bro going to China. He's just like a WMF guy, but he's just, American white. That's funny, holy cow, because I'm looking for a green card for China. Checkmate. I'm like, so you're a citizen, right? You're a citizen of the PRC, correct? Warning, Doug butchering. What's Doug butchering? Exciting. Thanks, Steve. I need a win. 2025, has not been a good year for me. There's stuff I won't get into. It's some personal stuff, but there's been some deaths. There's been some cancer. There's been some not so great things going into my life, like my personal life. That I don't really get into just because, like, it's not really related to the political shit that I'm talking about. But not gonna lie, it's a bit of a depressing year. But yeah, trying to just get through it, I guess. But it would be really good if this worked out. It would be really good. Fingers crossed, whatever. No one seems too good to be true. But you know what I noticed, though? I feel like, there's almost like this reverse WMF mind virus thing going on, or because we're used to WMF mind virus in the States or in the West, it feels like it's like a reverse WMF mind virus. And what I mean by that is, if you really think about it, like, these Chinese women, especially if you're like from the mainland, you're not really given a lot of American media for most of your life. Like, maybe more recently, obviously, in the past 20, 30 years. But then there's a lot of Chinese media too, right? They've built up like Chinese shows, they have Chinese movies. So they grow up with like Chinese stuff too, especially in Chinese language. And so when they're making their own movies, right? Like, especially even Hong Kong movies, like Wong Kar-wai stuff, they're watching all this stuff, and they're watching their men be very romantic. They're watching their men be heroic. They're watching their men. So when they see an Asian face, they're almost kind of like, oh, there's more attractive to me than, let's say, an Asian woman growing up in America, right? Because if an Asian woman's growing up in America, they're growing up like watching Brad Pitt. They're watching fucking George Clooney. They're watching blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, the white man is the most attractive, actually, because that's what they're propagandized to believe. So you already get a few more points when you go to Asia. But on the other side, in American media, yes, it is fetishization, but there is a little bit of gassing up Asian women too, right? In general. Like, yes, it is a fetish, but it's also kind of like, oh, I'm hot, right? I'm getting all these fucking men who want in my DMs who want to fuck me, so I must be hot. But in China, that doesn't happen because, first of all, Chinese people aren't as degenerate as Westerners, but also because they're just like any other women in, they're the majority, right? They're the same. And so you have less entitlement, and they're more attracted to you. So it's almost kind of like, yeah, when I've been on Red Note for a week or so now, and I'm just kind of like, holy shit. Like, as a 6-foot Korean American guy who uses decent skincare and keeps in decent shape, I feel like if I were to like move to China and like know a decent amount of Chinese, like dating would be like shooting fish in a fucking barrel. I mean, maybe not because I'm, now I'm 41, like turning 42, and people might be turned off because I'm fucking old. But aside from that, if it was like 10 years ago, if I was in like my fucking 30s, it'd be fucking shooting fish in a barrel. I'd be like, holy shit. This is like, this is what being a banker in Oregon Trail feels like, right? Because being an Asian guy in fucking America, I made this joke to my black friend. Well, it's not my friend, but he's like an acquaintance. Like we're mutuals on Twitter. He talks about race stuff all the time. But I under one of his tweets about like interracial dating, I said, if white men experience what Asian men do for a week, every school in America would probably have a school shooting by now. Like, I kid you fucking not. Right? And so, it's just kind of like, holy shit, if you're in farmer mode as Oregon Trail in America, going to Shanghai, as a Korean American 6-foot dude who takes good care of his skin, yeah, it's fucking shooting fish in a barrel. And, I keep a nice, decent figure. I'm going and learning some Wing Chun, getting the culture as well, Well, yeah, I'm not saying that there's not going to be competition either, Andrew. Obviously. But compared to here, the fucking, you're not even seen as competition here. You're seen as fucking like a safety school. Did you fucking see this? My friend told me about this Love is Blind bullshit. Let's see. Did you guys see this? So apparently last week, so it's funny because my friend is WMAF, but she's my friend and she kind of knows. She's dated Asian guys before, so it's not like she's exclusively WMAF. But she shared with me because she was watching Love is Blind with her, white boyfriend. And even her boyfriend was like, holy shit, if I was an Asian dude in America, I would fucking hate that. Like, you have, like, white men now being like, holy shit, the WAF mind virus is real. Like, okay, so this was on Our Asian American, home of the fucking WMAF, which is funny because it's home of the WMAF mind virus, right? But even them were like, I just watched the new season of Love is Blind on Netflix and was excited to see some Asian representation with the stars Patrick and Anna, but the internalized racism became so bad and a huge turnoff that I had to pause the show and take a mental health break. Basically, the show gathered people from Denver, Colorado, so both Patrick and Anna, who are Asian, often grew up as the only Asians and POC in a predominantly white state. When asked about their dating preferences, they both said white. And when both were in the pods together and found out they were Asians, they thought being Chinese was so hot, as if they're seeing Asian people for the first time. Anna also said if she knew someone was Asian initially, she would have marked them off the dating pool, even though she and Patrick were connecting a lot on the show. Just when you thought Patrick was going to propose to Anna, she abruptly left the show. So that left Patrick trying to connect with Casey, your stereotypical blonde white girl from Colorado. She kept pressuring Patrick to reveal his ethnicity, and Patrick was so hesitant to reveal he's Asian that the awkward silence between them was so loud and uncomfortable. When it was finally revealed that he's Asian, Casey didn't seem particularly thrilled, but also said it didn't really matter to her, since you could sense the uncomfortability. So he then went on to say that his friends are always saying he's good looking for an Asian guy, which completely set him up for failure because that completely raised up Casey's expectations, thinking he was going to be a 10 out of 10 Asian guy, when he's more like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Tall, not shabby looking dude. Anyways, when the big reveal happened, Casey later told production that she doesn't think her attraction to Patrick can grow despite love bombing Patrick and kissing him, and then broke things up with him. Long story short, I never seen internalized racism so visible on TV, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, holy shit, if even WMAF people on this fucking WMAF Reddit, like, people are fucking waking up to the fucking mind virus finally, you know? And it's like, you know, that I do the Kanye. It was a Jewish doctor. It was the WMA mind virus. Thanks, Asian movement. I might go to China. You know what? What if that happened? What if I went to China? It was like the love of my life. You know, we immediately hit it off, and I was like, you know what, guys? It's been real. It's been real. I hope you guys get it together. I'm living in China now. I'm Chinese now. All right, BM, get your Jap degeneracy out of here. All right. Hopefully your wife is not listening. Let's see. Bro is shooting fish. Everyone is as degenerate. Takes a little. That's Andrew. That reminds me of Do you ever watch Good Will Hunting? Well, I don't know if I can podcast from China, can I? Maybe I can podcast from Hong Kong. That might be the best of both worlds. Like living in Hong Kong so I can still like use YouTube and shit. But also kind of like being Chinese. I like how everyone's like, I'm already done. I'm gone. I'm gone, guys. The secret is just to use your hand on some tit or crotch. What? All right. Now I know. Now I know you got to get your Jap shit out of here. Yeah, so I can go to Hong Kong, do my YouTube shit, hop over to Macau, make some money playing poker, and then fucking live large. I'll be like, you know what? It's up to you guys now. I'm done. I'm enjoying communism. You guys can enjoy capitalism in fascist America. I'm done. Bro, Asian movement, bro. My mom is not happy with the idea of me dating a Chinese woman. That's for fucking sure. Cucker, I'm confident that won't happen. Chinese players are kind of degenerate and bad from what I heard. Though, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, but Hong Kong might not be that bad of an option. It just costs like a fucking shit ton of money, right? That's the annoying part. But, I mean, they might not mind if you just vlog random fucking bullshit. But if I'm vlogging, like, political shit, especially when I talk about stuff they don't want to talk about at all, like Tiananmen, you know, I'm talking about, like, you know, it was a color revolution. But even then, they don't allow that shit, right? They don't want anyone talking about it either way. But there's shit that I can't say if I'm in China, probably. Don't go to Hong Kong or Tier 1 city. You're old, bro. Tier 3, Tier 4. I feel like I would get bored, honestly. Because, like, that was what I was thinking. Like, why don't I just fuck off, like, Carl Za or some shit to Bali? You know, just marry someone 20 years younger than me, right? Um, but then I was like, you know what? I would get bored. I would get bored as fuck. I kind of need like tier one craziness. I kind of thrive in like the fucking craziness, you know? When's the last time you've been to South Korea? 2017. I was trying to arbitrage Bitcoin. Unsuccessfully. We lost money, unfortunately. But that's what I was there for. I was there for 2 weeks. The first week I was doing that, and the second week I just kind of hung out with family. But that was also kind of a surreal experience too, because like there was this Ajuma who just like stopped me in the middle of the street and was like, "Hey, do you know the directions to this place?" And I was like, "Do I look like a local to you?" In my mind. And then I was like, "Oh, 미안해, 나 한국 사람인데 한국 말 못해요," or some shit like that, you know, like I can't speak Korean that well, or I'm not from here. 나 여기에서 살지 않아요, you know, right? Or 태어나지 않았어요, or whatever. Where the fuck I was, you know, I was just like flustered. And she was like, "Don't worry about it. Nobody, nobody knows anything here anyway." I'm gonna visit Harbin, but I probably won't live there, to be honest. Um, like if I go to China, I'll be learning Chinese. That's for fucking sure. You know, I'm not gonna be like one of those fucking, you know, teachers that live there for 20 years and don't know a lick of fucking Chinese. You know. Even though languages are my kryptonite, I feel like I'm still more equipped than most people to pick it up faster. Yeah, but BM, I'm also married to the revolution. I'm married to Marxism Leninism, like Ho Chi Minh. I have no time. No time for a family. No time for kids. No time for fucking kids. It's actually a pretty good book, by the way. It is written by a liberal, but what I appreciate is he takes an approach saying, "I'm only writing about Lenin based on what he wrote," and the Krupskaya memoirs, which I also read. I read his wife's memoirs. So he's basically, you know, on Soviet history, like what, or historical records. Like he's basically trying to make as objective of a Lenin biography as is possible with Western sources. So I do respect kind of like what he's trying to do here, and I am learning a decent amount of stuff about Lenin, more personal stuff. But definitely try to pick this up if you want to know more about Lenin. It's probably the best English language, or least biased English language biography on Lenin. I've also been reading this. This is more about autism. But this is actually kind of like anyone should read this. Basically, like, because it's interesting. She's like, wait, where did all of our engineers go? Where did all of our innovators go? Where did all of our industrialization go? Like, she asks all these questions. She's so close. She's so close to realizing what's going on, but she doesn't make the final leap, because she praises all these fucking people like Edison or Musk or whatever, and just like, oh god, you're an idiot. Make little commie babies. You can do it. Give your parents grandchildren. I mean, honestly, if I told my parents the only grandchildren you'll have is if you turn communist, they might actually turn communist. That might be the thing that turns them communist. The title is, it's just Lenin. The author is Christopher Reed, Read, Christopher Reed. It was a little hard to find though. So try like A Books or some other shit. I like Abe books because they have like, when it's super expensive on Amazon, sometimes I could find a very cheap version on Abe books. I have the Analects, Steve. Is there anything more than the Analects for Confucius? 5 classics? No, I don't have G's. Wait, are you talking about books that are written by G, Andrew? I don't have anything written by G. Like, I still, look, I mean, as far as China goes, like, I still have to start with this. That's what I'm going to start with. The Qing Dynasty, right? Because that's, like, kind of like, probably talks about the Taiping Rebellion and kind of like the Opium Wars and all that shit. So that's probably what I'm going to... Yo, what's up, Wang Oni-chan? How dare you prioritize Haz's stream over... No, just kidding. He's probably better at speaking about world events. But how dare you? Just kidding. Nah, Asian movement. I'm already kind of like talking to this chick on Red Note. You might have missed that part. But yeah, I have like, for example... For example, man, I started this book and I didn't finish it. That's bad. I have Mao's Edgar Snow biography. So Edgar Snow, like, literally met with Mao, I think, in the 1930s, 1940s. I have Analects. That's the only one I have, Steve. Should I get more? I got this. I don't know how good it's going to be. But, trying to learn about Deng, the master. And then I have another fucking Mao biography that's more modern. This is how much fucking shit. I don't have time. I don't have time for anything. I don't have time. And I'm not even going to get to this in like this year. I might not even get to it next year. I have like material for fucking the rest of 2020s. Jesus. Is your sister hot? Asian movement, by the way, though. I'm not a. Gotta have some backups in case the generators, the primary generator fails. I actually don't like audiobooks, to be honest. I feel like you don't retain all the information if you're just listening to it. Especially if you're reading or you're trying to understand something that's very abstract and theoretical. Like, maybe if it was more about history or whatever. But at the same time, I also like reading. I like physical fucking books. How old is she, Asian movement? Are you Korean, by the way? The chance might go up very rapidly if she is Korean. Oh shit. Damn, that would make my... How communist is she? Can she be molded to... And would your parents be okay with her marrying someone? Exactly, Andrew. That's the thing. These rank, she's, the Hong Kong girl is not a rank because she never boomered around. Well, if she watches the stream, maybe show her a stream, and if she's like, that motherfucker is crazy, then we'll already have our answer, right? And then I'll be like, all right, well, that's not gonna work out. So for a test run, just show her one of my fucking streams and be like, "Hey, do you think you would be interested in this guy?" And be like, I would say there's a 99% chance she's gonna be like, yeah, maybe don't show her this stream. Maybe show her another one where I'm not calling people power generators. Yeah, if she's looking for a communist Korean American boyfriend, then who am I to reject potential suitresses, right? I don't know. What's the female word for suitors? Suitors? Suitars. Like the A instead of O? Suitar. Who am I to deny suitars? This Hong Kong girl, it's only been a couple weeks, competition could be stiff. That's the thing, like, though. Like, I'm just kind of like, oh, man. I don't fucking know. I mean, I don't even fucking know anymore. Sometimes I think, man, I'm in my fucking 40s. Politics is kind of a young man's job. Or at least revolutionary politics is a young man job. And I'm like, why am I still fucking... Maybe I should just call it quits. Let the Gen Z ACP take care of business. They got it. They got it going. They got Haz al-Din. As Wang Oni-chan chose him over me to watch. They've already got... They already got it covered, right? They don't need me. I'm just an Asian guy, who's trying to correct their line on disastrously terrible shit like Pol Pot. But they got a handle, I'm sure. They're got it handled. They got it all handled. They don't need me. I'm just another dude. Who nobody fucking needs. No, I know, Wong. I'm just fucking with you. I like to troll everyone. Who I like to troll them? It's funny because, like, apparently, my mom also likes to troll everyone. And I didn't really know this because, like, I thought she was just trolling me because I'm her kid. But apparently she's like, oh, yeah, no, I troll. Well, she doesn't call it trolling, but she's like, I act crazy in front of people all the time or whatever. Like, when I was growing up to, like, get attention or whatever. And I was like, oh, you're where I get my fucking personality from. Oh, Venezuela with the fucking Nobel Peace Prize. The fucking Alfred Nobel was an arms dealer. Alfred Nobel as an arms dealer make a Nobel Peace Prize. You know why he made that Nobel Peace Prize, right? I mean, I tweet about this, but Alfred Nobel created nitroglycerin, which is TNT, or dynamite. And not only that, he helped create it for weapons, right? I mean, yes, it was used for construction and all that other stuff, but it was also used for blowing up people. And 10 years, I think, before he died, he saw some obituary because his brother had just died, and I guess the obituary mistakenly thought it was him. And so in the obituary, it's like, oh, Alfred Nobel, he was an arms dealer, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, what the fuck is that? I'm not going to leave a legacy behind. So in his will, he basically creates this fucking Nobel Peace Prize with all of his money to be like, no, I'm for peace. Nobel is for peace, guys. Nobel, exactly. Nobel in pieces. Wait, Cucker, are you Korean, by the way, or are you Chinese? Because you mentioned jjajangmyeon. Or are you just like a white dude who knows Korean shit? I would say you're probably Korean. but that would be my guess. Because there are some Korean fans of Tucker Carlson, I feel like. Korean American fans that I know. Excuse me, madame, I'm a retard. Whatever. So, I don't know. I mean, like, Asian movement, do you think, like, the thing is, like, I'm 41. I'm turning 42 next month. You think she's going to be like, oh, God, that guy's old. That guy's old as fuck. I mean, the girl I'm talking to, even she's like, I think she's 34. So even that, I'm kind of like, oh, man, that's a little... I mean, it's not that big now, obviously, but, 10 years ago, that would have been 24 and 32. I've been like, oh, man, that's a little bit of a gap. Well, if you used 23andMe, you would have found that out. Because apparently, actually, some people reached out from 23andMe. Because, like, hey, I think I'm your, like, fourth cousin or some shit. I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh, shit. Turns out, he's like there was this guy, I think he's second gen, but he's Gen X. But his son is like some fucking Harvard genius who like built this robotics thing when he was in high school. And I was like, holy shit. I guess we are all fucking genius autistic people. So that was my mom's side. Because generally, I think my autism mostly comes from my dad's side. Because all he does is fucking watch Baduk videos at home on YouTube. And he's also a nephrologist. For those of you not in the know, nephrology requires a lot of chemistry knowledge rather than biology or whatever. So that's more technical. That's more... Obama won in 2009 when he annihilated Pakistani children. So thanks, Tommy Turtle. I'll be sure to, if I ever move to Hong Kong, at least, if I'm in Hong Kong, I'll definitely keep this going. If I'm in China, though, proper, I might keep something going, but it probably won't be as free. Because, communist China, guys. It's totalitarian. You got a social credit score to think about. No, just kidding. TT visa. What's a TT visa? The real genetic testing is if you could smoke a half pack of parliaments while kimchi squatting. Well, I actually only smoked 3 cigarettes in my entire life. And that was probably all within the past 5 years. So I probably couldn't pass that test, to be honest. I smoked a lot of weed, or more weed vapes since, but as far as cigarettes, I actually never smoked until, like, I started doing drugs. I just skipped over... You know how they say gateway drug, marijuana, and cigarettes are a gateway drug? I just skipped the entire thing. I just went to 3,4-methylene dioxymethamphetamine, at the rave. I don't do it anymore, guys. Part of the party is you can't do hard drugs. But in a past life, aka last year, I did that shit. Because that was the other thing. I retired, right? I retired from EDC in 2024. But really, like, when you hit 40, you feel everything. And I remember too, like, at EDC, once the drugs wear off, oh shit, you're in pain. Oh shit, you're in pain. Like, I was on the bus going home from, EDC. And when I got off the bus, the moment I stood up, I was like, oh, fuck. I, like, had to walk like this to my hotel. I was like, oh. I mean, fortunately, it was like 7 in the morning, so it wasn't that hot. But it was also 7 in the fucking morning. But I was, like, walking to my hotel like this. It was like a 20-minute walk from the bus station to my hotel. And, you know, I was so cheap I didn't want to get an Uber. That's how fucking frugal I still have my parents' Korean War mentality. I'm too cheap to get an Uber, even though it's a 20-minute walk back to my hotel. But I'm just kind of like, oh. But also, there was a long line in the Uber, too. So I didn't want to fucking wait either. So I'm just walking back to my hotel. I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. You know, before I sleep, I would, like, smoke up a little bit to alleviate some of the pain. But also, like, use my Theragun all over my fucking back. Well, I'm 41, Steve. So I've passed the great beyond. And next month, I'm turning 42. My Mariano Rivera year, you know. It's over. Enter Sandman. Dun, 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 dun. No Yankee fans here? Okay, fine. Let's see. Yeah. I also don't eat kimchi. So, I could do a kimchi squat, but I also don't eat kimchi. So, I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't eat kimchi. I definitely don't eat sundae. That shit is fucking nasty. Fuck that. But, I eat jjajangmyeon. I eat KBBQ. I like salangtang. What else do I like? That's pretty much it. No, I like miyeokguk. You know, basic bitch shit. If you got the COVID gene therapy shots, you'll be lucky to make it 50. Well, I got the I think I got the Pfizer double, and then one booster, and then I stopped. Yeah, bulgogi. I call that sweet gogi when I was a kid. My mom makes pretty good bulgogi, to be honest. Never. Just the idea of sundae just grosses me out. I ain't eating no fucking intestines. You kidding me? Shit's nasty. It's bloody as fuck, isn't it? Ugh, God, gross. My autism is gonna fucking throw up all that shit. Yeah, that's what you have when you have autism. You kind of have like certain sensitivities to things, especially with regards to taste and texture. I cannot handle fucking like squishy textures, like weird squishy shit. Like whenever I eat that, I have like a gag reflex. I'm like about to fucking throw up. So, but yeah. Japchae is okay. Hot dogs are intestines. Are they? Yeah, well, you know, I got used to them as a kid growing up, so whatever. Aren't like rats in hot dogs too or some shit? I don't even fucking know. I don't even eat hot dogs that often, to be honest, so. My mom packed me like 3 Tupperware of gimbap. Dude, every day I would just get a ham sandwich for like 12 years. I think I should have realized, someone should have realized I was autistic by then. To be like, how did this kid eat the same fucking ham sandwich for like 12 years growing up and not protest? I had a ham, cheese, and lettuce sandwich. And I would always get fucking annoyed because my mom would pack it in tightly. And then by the time it was lunchtime, it would always be soggy as fuck. So I'd have to take out the fucking lettuce because it's soggy as fuck. And then I'm eating kind of like this half soggy ham and cheese sandwich. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Well, yeah. No, it had cheese. Yeah, it's very likely my whole family's got a touch of the tism. My mom has at least ADHD at the fucking very least, for sure. Like she'll tell a story to me, and like she won't get to the point until I, fucking say like 20 minutes in. I'm like, all right, what the fuck is the point of this story? She's like rambling all these fucking details. I'm like, all right, where are we going right now? Well, eating the same thing every day and not saying anything about it is probably a sign of autism. It's like, well, for me, it was more because like I didn't really even think about eating much. Eating to me was kind of like a chore. I was like, ugh, God. Because like a lot of times I would be reading something, right? Or be playing video games or whatever the fuck I was doing. And my mom would always be like, Doug, come down, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She'd like scream to get me to fucking come down, I guess. And then I like usually come with my video game booklet or like my book or whatever and read while I'm eating my food. And she'd tell me to stop doing that shit too. But yeah. I feel like anyone with an IQ of greater than 130, you probably got a touch of the tism. I mean, it's like I've been reading something that basically said 10% of autistic people are savants. And savants are basically Rayman fucking level savants. I'm not talking about like, oh, you're kind of smart at something. No, this savant level is like Rayman shit, right? So 10% of autistic people. Guess how many neurotypical people are savants? 1 out of every 3 million. I'm like, holy shit. Let's say there are 3 billion, 3 billion neurotypicals. That's what? 1,000 savants? I'm a savant. Okay, BM. You're acting too Jap in this. You're acting too Jap right now. Do I need to talk to your wife about how Jap you're being? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, people probably think I'm arrogant online because I like fucking shit talk white people all the time. And I'm like, you guys are all fucking retarded. But the thing is, I'm only saying that because there are Asian savants that are like 100 times smarter than me. I was like, holy shit. If you knew how smart, like, you think I'm like being arrogant about my own intelligence? Like, no. I'm only saying that because I know fucking 150s, the 160s out there, the 160s Asian people, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. You have no idea what the fuck you're dealing with in terms of technical ability. You have no idea the STEM fucking lead China has right now because, that's the thing too. It's not enough to just have those savants. You have to have the infrastructure and the educational stuff and the people to recognize that shit, to foster that, and to, direct them towards fucking mining rare earth minerals. You can't just have savants in a country and just think, hey, we're good to go. No, you got to fucking put them in the gauntlet. And that's why, like, even though I am like pretty high IQ, that's not the full story either. I stayed at home, right, all throughout my fucking spring breaks, studying for the SATs and shit. That shit doesn't fucking happen all on its own either. You guys have to fucking put in the time. And the other thing too is like I grew up playing violin. And what I realized from reading the Temple Grandin thing, Einstein also played violin. And it's not just violin, but like when you think about it too, Chinese people, especially Chinese children, they're learning this fucking complex language, You know, everything is like there's so much information embedded in each fucking character, and the skill to write these characters like well, calligraphy, and like there's all these fucking like information that's embedded that a Chinese child is learning when they're like learning this language. When you're learning fucking English, it's just fucking letters. It's like hooked on fucking phonics bullshit nonsense. You know, like any retard can pick. I mean, like I started reading when I was 2. I'm not gonna start reading when I'm 2 when I'm fucking Chinese. That's for fucking sure. You know, the first time my parents realized I was reading was because I guess like we would, as a kid, I loved pizza. Growing up or whatever, you know, we were in New York. I loved eating pizza, whatever. And so whenever we go to a pizza place, I'd look at the sign or whatever. And then over time, when they went to a place that was a pizza place we had never went to, I would see like pizza, and they were like, "What the fuck?" Because I would just like be like, I probably didn't know like what I was reading. I was just like, I identified these like symbols, and these symbols to me represented pizza, you know, probably you know, at the age of 2. But when you're at the age of 2 and you're looking at Chinese characters, I'm sure the fuck my infant mind wouldn't be like pizza. It'd be like lots of lines. So in the same way, you know, I kind of like now appreciate that I learned violin, because violin's not just any other instrument. You know, with piano, I actually do wish I learned piano as well. But with piano, it's kind of structured. There's like, you know, your every note is on the key, right? So you don't have to do. But on the violin, you kind of have to like instinctively know where the fucking thing is. And when you do this over and over again, it's almost like you're estimating things on a spectrum, on a mathematical spectrum in real time all the time. And so your mind is kind of like working with all that fucking data, and your like technical abilities start to like improve in your brain because like you're doing that in the music. And then not only that, there's a technique to like on your, you know, on your bow to do certain, you know, sort of stuff like staccato, or like, you know, like I never perfected the thing where you're like bouncing it and shit and whatever. I don't know, you know, like in fucking, you know, those more Russian sort of compositions and shit. But yeah, there's a lot of like technical stuff that I didn't appreciate my mind learning at the time, because at the time I was just like, fuck this stupid fucking instrument. Why am I playing this shit? But yeah, because you kind of have to be a little bit savant like to even play violin. It's like the most unintuitive instrument ever. You know, when you're learning, or at least when I was learning as a kid, they did put like little like stickers to like act like frets on your thing. But once you play for a few years, you're supposed to play without that shit. You're supposed to just like, because you also kind of figure out with music theory, oh, halfway on the string, it's a key up. So 3/4 of the thing is another octave. So it's octave, 3/4, and it's kind of like, you know, this almost like Fibonacci sequence that's going on. And you kind of like you kind of like think about math just like intuitively. But yeah, sorry, I'm spurging out right now. Let's see what's going on. Eating the same day. Oh no. Yeah, so I'm not quite a savant. I'm more of a generalist. That's my skill, I think. My skill is not getting into one topic and being a fucking expert at every single little nuance there is. To me, I kind of get bored when like it's getting too deep into the fucking woods. So my talent is getting to an 80% expertise level faster than most people. Like I could do that really quickly. Like I almost feel like my skill is the Sharingan. Like I could fucking like, Kakashi that shit and be like, all right, I can get to like around your level pretty quickly, And so because I'm able to do that really quickly, I can also draw on many different sort of topics that I've Kakashi'd and then build out like crazy fucking theories that no one's even thought about before because they've never made those connections. It's kind of like, when I took acid over a year ago, right? I don't do hard drugs anymore. But when I took acid, it did feel like, if there were like, imagine your wires in your brain, right? It felt like somebody was taking those wires apart and then reconnecting them in ways that like I never even conceived of before. What's custom lim prompt library shit? I don't know what that is. Custom LLM prompt. Oh, LLM. Yeah, I guess like in a way I'm sort of like a human AI. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to learn more, right? I'm not saying that I'm a complete human AI, but that's also funny because Mark Zuckerberg called me a computer back in middle school, so maybe he saw maybe he saw that AI a long time ago. But yeah. So Wang Onichen, what did Has talk about? Did he say anything interesting? Human artificial human artificial intelligence. It's actually funny. In 2007, I actually did visit Mark in Palo Alto. I guess this is a story I never even told anyone. But yeah, I was visiting him at Palo Alto. This was kind of like 2007 was. I think that was like before Sheryl Sandberg came on board, so they were still kind of. They're still kind of coming up. I remember he was living in this like one bedroom apartment. All of his bed was on the fucking floor. Like he had a mattress on the fucking floor. It looked like a it looked like a fucking homeless shelter in his house. And I was like, "Oh, that actually endeared him to me at that point cuz 2007 he could have still like balled out. But he was like living in this like one bedroom apartment that looked like, he probably didn't or he was probably at work most of the time, so he was probably not at home. But I was like, he was driving a TSX, Acura TSX, and I was like, oh, he's still pretty humble. I feel like, like not spending a gajillion dollars. And I don't know how it happened, but he was talking about like human intelligence and computer intelligence. And keep in mind this is 2007, so I don't know what the math is today, but he was saying like, yeah, it's crazy. Like if you think about it, the human brain really has the computing capacity of like half of the world's computers. And I was like, really? That is crazy. But like it's also funny because like the human mind can't process things exponentially because we're just not designed to do that. Because like let's say a cheetah's trying to chase you, it's not accelerating. It's not continually accelerating at a speed. It reaches a speed, and it's usually coming at you at 60 miles, a constant like 60 miles an hour. And you can kind of like jump out of the way or some shit. But like humans aren't conditioned to like get something that's coming at you and accelerating at like a huge amount or whatever, and it just like, like, oh, yeah, cool, dude. But it's also funny because back when we were in high school, we were both obsessed with The Matrix. That came out, I think I was in ninth grade. Yeah, I was in ninth grade, but I think I saw it over the summer from ninth to 10th. But he was still at my high school in 10th grade. And he actually made kind of like a Matrix parody, like using a camcorder. And at the time, I could film I could do the dodging bullets sequence. I could probably still do it today, but it'd probably kill my back and strain it. But yeah, he recorded somewhere in Mark Zuckerberg's home video collection or his parents' home video collection is a video of me doing the fucking dodging bullets sequence. But it's kind of funny because, like, I always loved it from the viewpoint of, Neo, like, breaking the fucking Matrix. But now I'm realizing maybe Mark liked it from the point of view of Agent Smith of building the Matrix. Or the architect. I'm like, oh, God. That's the wrong side, Mark. That's the wrong side. 215 million gigabytes per gram. How many in a fucking regular hard drive? What is it? Is it like, yeah, Nebuchadnezzar, all aboard. I think I also liked it back then because, I actually saw it in church for the first time. Funny story about that. So I saw The Matrix in church. Did I tell this story? Well, anyway, I saw it in church because at the time Archando Sanim wasn't there, and like Archando Sanim wasn't there. So what happened was, there were these two older kids, like a year older than me, so not too much older. But I was in 10th grade or whatever, or 9th or 10th grade when we were watching it, right, over the summer. And they say, oh, it's kind of about Christianity. And, the one and Thomas Anderson, doubting Thomas because he touches himself when he gets shot. Thomas, bullet hole, blah, 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 Nebuchadnezzar, etc., etc. It's kind of like a Christian movie. So let's watch it. It's probably like some fucking bullshit thing or whatever. But then I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. But then I also kind of like researched all the philosophy shit too. Like I was like, what's going on? Blah, 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 So the dude who played it for us at church, he was kind of like very into like Gen X culture, like MTV, Beavis and Butthead, all this other stuff, like kind of like countercultural, but like more kind of like for lack of better term, like white culture, right? Like white American Gen X culture. He was really into that shit. And we kind of fall out of, I mean, we're kind of friends on Facebook or whatever, but we're not really like friends after college, really, or really even after high school, to be honest. I mean, it's not like we were enemies or anything. It's just like I didn't really like keep in touch. But our parents all keep in touch, and because they're all they're all fucking friends or whatever. And then I'm on Facebook, and then I see a name. I'm not going to say the name. I'm going to respect his privacy in this regard. But I see a name I don't recognize. I see a woman's name I don't recognize. And I'm like, who is this person on my Facebook? And it's the guy, but he is not a guy anymore. And it was a picture of him with very long hair and makeup. And if you know anything about the Matrix and the Wachowski brothers, or the Wachowski non-brothers, or the Wachowski they-thems, or the Wachowski non-binaries, whatever the fuck they are now, Wachowski sisters maybe, you know that what happened there. And then the sad part is he had a wife and 2 kids. No, this wasn't my Chundo-san. This was like the substitute older kid that was leading the youth group. Because the Chundo-san wasn't there. But I was like, wait, what the? I was like, oh my god. And it was crazy because, you know, like, well, maybe it wasn't that crazy, but he wasn't, you know, anything like that, you know, as a kid. Like, there was no sign of that whatsoever. There was, like, zero inclination of that shit. And I was like, oh my god. Like, apparently they just had a kid last year. So this is, like, a very recent turn from someone who abandoned their fucking family. Like, it'd be different if he was single and then I was like, okay, whatever. Like, do your thing, man, I guess, whatever. But I'm just kind of like, oh my god. Well, now, I think presumably they broke up before the transition, so to speak. It didn't look like she had I don't even know what to call them or whatever. But it didn't look like she had any surgeries or anything like that. It just looked more transvestite. But I was like, "Oh my god. This is propaganda. This is like the woke shit. This would not have happened if the woke shit never happened. I'm like 100% confident. Like there's just no fucking way." And I don't know. I'm really thinking about media now. I'm really thinking about Hollywood. I'm really thinking about especially the past 40, 50 years. Especially after the 67 war. It's my theory now that Zionists, after the 67 war, worked with, you know, people in government. I mean, the entire government is fucking Zionist. I'm not just singling out Jewish people, right? I feel like the entire fucking government is Zionist and has been since Teddy Roosevelt. But yeah, they figured it out and they were like, you know what? You know what the biggest obstacle for America accepting Zionism is actual Christians. Because if you read the fucking Bible, that shit doesn't endorse Israel. So my working theory now is, like, these Zionists in Hollywood introduced a lot of these anti-Christian sort of themes, particularly Zionist comedians like Sarah Silverman or Louis C.K. These very nihilist themes that they're also very anti-Christian. Yeah, I still have to research that stuff in the Schofield Bible. I've only read part one of Teddy Roosevelt's three volume biography. My concern with Teddy Roosevelt, was the Tafkatsura Agreement in 1907, where he basically sold out Korea to the Japs in exchange for their help to fucking cuck the Filipino people, right? That was my gripe with Teddy Roosevelt. But now I'm seeing a lot more shit that he set up. I'm like, oh my god, is this American Hitler? This might be American Hitler. Teddy Roosevelt might be fucking American Hitler. Or at the very least, American Churchill, right? Which, in my opinion, is worse. Churchill is worse than Hitler, in my opinion. But I don't know about early 1800s. I think I think it actually started from Napoleon when he was like around Egypt and all this shit. He kind of had like the idea of like, hey, why don't we rebuild the Jewish Sanhedrin and take over Israel? He's actually the one that started. I think it's 1798 in France. Yeah. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt really was fucking racist to the Japs. No, I it might sound funny that I'm saying it like that. Okay, the Japanese, all right. But like the internment camps, that was basically concentration camps for the Japanese. And it wasn't really for national security, because after Midway, they still kept them in the camps. And after Midway, it was fucking over. There was no way the Japs were going to come back from that, or like any spies were going to have anything to do with, because they were going to get fucking crushed. They were like, after Midway, the Americans are closing in. It's not like the Japs are going to like fucking find some way to get that shit. But yeah, I was like, holy shit. Like, Roosevelt really hated Asian people. Like, he was just using Asian, like, racist arguments. Like, yes, obviously we all hate the Japs too, but not the Japanese, the Japs. When I say Japs, I mean like Nazis. That's what I mean. We all hate the Japs too for obvious reasons. But it appeared like Americans hated them because they were fucking Asian. Like, they didn't have the same hatred for the Nazis. They didn't have the same hatred for the Italians. It was like, I think there was this crazy stat I read where 14% of Americans believe that they should exterminate the Japanese, the entire fucking island. But the thing is, what did the Japs do to the Americans, right? They attacked Pearl Harbor, which was mostly military men, and it wasn't even a fucking state at the time. It was a protectorate. It wasn't even a fucking state. It was a military base that Japs attacked. But because they attacked our military base, now the entire island deserves to fucking get annihilated. Do you know how fucking crazy that is? Like, for me, I think it should be annihilated because they're all fucking evil fucks and they make shit that's like demonic, and like there was this far leftist Japanese woman who shared with me that like apparently they made literal bestiality fucking porn with Jav idols. I'm like, what is happening? How is this even a thing? How is this allowed in life, in reality? I was like, holy fucking shit. Yeah. They just didn't kill them at the end. But, you know, I watched Neon Genesis Evangelion recently, all 26 episodes, and I'm like, holy shit. Now I know why Japs are so fucked up in the brain when they watch this shit as kids growing up. Are you fucking kidding me? You guys ever watched Neon Genesis Evangelion? This came out in 1995. But not only was Hollywood making pro-Zionist shit, the Japs were making pro-imperial Japanese apologetica for the past 30, 40 years. Because after the Soviet Union fell, they were like, oh, nobody's going to call us out anymore. Nobody's going to call us out on our bullshit. It's time to make some fucking bullshit. bro, fucking CPC needs to like ban Neon Genesis Evangelion. That shit is fucking demonic. That shit is fucking like satanic. Because it almost like starts off this whole entire genre of Imperial Japanese kind of whitewashing. Because if you really think about it, the main character Shinji, right? At the end of the show, he's like, "Oh man, like I hate myself because I did all these things and like I killed all these people and it was terrible. I didn't want to kill them." It was like, and then they're like, "Well, don't pay attention to everyone. Why are you trying to please everyone? You should only live for yourself." And is defending yourself so wrong? You were just defending yourself. So in reality, you should create your own self-image. Don't pay attention to what people say about you. That's the whole point of the fucking show. They're basically saying, "Oh yeah, we might have done some bad shit, but we don't need to care about what anyone says about that. We just need to love ourselves and accept ourselves for who we are. Because after all, we're all the same. We all wanted to defend ourselves. There's nothing wrong in trying to defend yourself from all these fucking imperialist monsters that are represented by these angels." That's some fucking bullshit. And like you could see the influence on shit like Attack on Titan too. Because the Evas, the fucking robots, they're actually revealed to be humans. Like mutated fucking humans from like this fucking atom shit that came from outer space. It's very much like AOT's ending, actually. Like Eren Yeager and fucking Shinji are the exact same archetype. Oh. Let me get the link to the Discord. Check your Technologic 1C DMs. I don't see anything. Let me see. Oh, you meant my, yeah. I will send it to you here. Like, they all follow the same fucking script. Did I talk about this last time? I might have talked about this last time. I think somebody mentioned that, I think somebody mentioned here that, did somebody mention here that One Piece was now being used for color revolution stuff in the Philippines? I think that was on the Discord, right? Somebody mentioned that on Discord. Fuck. But yeah. Anyway, Jesus, it's already 11. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. Anything else anyone wants to talk about, or last thing before I go? Yeah, BM. Have you ever heard of the Cool Japan initiative? So that's what I've been also recently searching too. So in my analysis, there's two ways that Japanese propaganda works. One is the kawaii shit, right? The Hello Kitty, the fucking Pokemon, that fucking shit, right? So kawaii shit actually comes from some sort of like Japanese sort of thing in 1002 AD or some shit. That's where that kind of comes from. They actually didn't make it to soften Japan's image at first, right? They kind of just made it to make it. Hello Kitty was just like a very minimalist sort of cute sort of brand thing that was created. In Pokemon, obviously, Nintendo created that. I think in the 1990s. I forgot what else. There were a bunch of other stuff, I'm sure. But in the 2000s, again, after the Soviet Union's not around, right? And the Japanese are kind of feeling themselves. There was this cool Japan movement by the state which promoted all this kawaii shit to give themselves a better and you could see it being very widely accepted in places like fucking the Philippines. The who I call the Amboy Jeets. They like somebody mentioned, they all are like doing this color revolution based on One Piece or some fucking bullshit. Like if you're falling for One Piece propaganda, you're probably not intelligent. Yeah, so it's more that the Japanese government co-opted these kawaii sort of brands and started using them for their own propaganda. So that's the first kind out of two. The second, especially after Akira, I want to say. I haven't watched Akira, but I have a friend who's pretty well versed in anime. So I've been kind of like asking him here and there about like what it could be. And he said it's probably started with Akira. That was like the start of like the dystopian cyberpunk sort of like aesthetic. But I asked AI as well. And I think a lot of it does come from the Godzilla sort of movie. Or the Godzilla stuff. Because the Godzilla stuff is about talking about the nukes, right? The Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Right? And so, from Japan's perspective, this is the story that they told not only people now, but this is a story they told the rest of Asia before they killed everyone, right? They said, oh, we're the Far East prosperity sphere, right? They didn't call it Imperial Japan. They didn't call it the Japanese Reich or anything like that. They called it the Far East prosperity sphere, right? They pretended like they were coming to help the Chinese people. They're coming to help the Indonesian people. They're coming to help the Singaporean people, etc., etc. They just wanted to fight these white imperialists. They were colonizing all you guys for hundreds of years. We were just trying to kill them. We were just trying to fight these white imperialists, this existentialist threat to us all. If you'd only just fucking listen to us and know your place, we could have beat them. We could have beat these monsters. And so all throughout, you have these monsters pretty much representing Western imperialism through fucking, like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, basically focusing on the nukes as if it was like the ultimate end-all be-all crime of World War II. When really it was like 10th place as the worst war crime in the fucking Pacific. Like we all fucking know, like, if you had the choice of being nuked or Unit 731, you would fucking take the nuke every time. If you had the choice of getting bubonic plague bombed or nukes, if you had the choice of getting killed and eaten, you would choose the nukes. If you had the choice of living in Nanjing during the Nanjing massacre, you would choose the fucking nukes, okay? Every fucking time, you are choosing the fucking nukes compared to everything the Japs did. But the Japanese are framing like, oh, yeah, we might have done some unspeakable shit. Like in Neon Genesis Evangelion. If you watch that show, you're like, holy shit. This shit is fucking messed up as fuck. Like, this is like children should not be watching this shit. Like, it's got Oedipus complexes. It's got fucking pedophilia with older women and young children. I'm just like, holy fucking shit, this is a fucked up thing to watch when you're a teenager. Like, yeah, if all fucking like, it's no fucking wonder incel ideology came from Japan, because holy shit, they were watching this fucking crazy fucking shit. Yeah, BM, and people are still falling for it now. That's how fucking retarded, Filipino people are. A lot of Filipino people love anime. I'm like, you fucking dumbass idiots. A lot of Taiwanese people too, right? Well, they're fucking they're like honorary Japs. Like, the Taiwanese consider themselves honorary Japs. But it's just kind of like, holy fucking shit. Y'all are retard. Well, yeah, I'm not saying Japan, you know, Japan was stupid. They did a lot of smart things, obviously. They fucking industrialized. They were the ones that realized, the Western imperialists were a threat, but instead of helping the rest of Asia figure that out, what do? They were like, no, you're our slaves now, and we're just gonna fucking genocide you and rape you. I'm like, yeah, maybe help China start its own revolution and, become communist and fucking fight the imperialists like that, and then win society. Like, today, if Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore all decided to just ally with China today, we would all be living in communism. It would be over. It would be just done. It would be like, all right, it's the yellow man century now. It's the century of fucking justice. We had the century of humiliation from 1840 to 1949. We had the century of rejuvenation from 1949 to like now, basically. Now it's time for the century of fucking redemption, where the yellow man is on fucking top and saving the world. Not only that, we're on top, and we don't even have to exploit everyone else. Because that's what China was. China was on top for centuries. It didn't even want to conquer the rest of the world because they were like, y'all don't make shit we even fucking want. We're good. We good, you stupid barbarians. We don't fucking want your shit. That's why they didn't conquer places. They literally were like, your shit sucks compared to our shit. Why would we want to conquer retards? That's basically what Asia will be as a communist society. Like, if Asia turns into the U.S. United Sino-Socialist Republics. If Asia turns into the United USSR with, instead of Soviet, Sino, we would all just be the middle continent. We'd just be like, yeah, we don't want to even conquer your American shit because y'all are fucking degenerate nonsense. What the fuck is an like, even today? What they're like, China's like, all right, we don't have to trade with y'all anymore. We got our shit covered. Thanks. We'll keep our rare earths to ourselves now. Thanks. That's what China's saying right now. So if China's saying that right now, if Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines to Taiwan to Cambodia, Korea, hometown China, who you got? You got shit. It's the AZN. Better recognize. Yo, that that Viet rapper in the 1990s, he was a fucking prophet. He was like, you know who he was? He was like, I saw my boy Deng Xiaoping. I see my boys in Duamua or whatever the shit is in Vietnam. That was kind of like the he was like, yeah, we're gonna fucking be on top, yo. You know, I see the Japs coming up, even in capitalist society, even though they let themselves be cucked by the Plaza Accords. I see that shit going on. Yeah, I'm just saying, if the Taiwan province stopped being a bunch of bitches and, you know, stop fucking LARPing like their fucking country. That's what I'm fucking talking about, obviously. Well, Evangelion comes from like the robots that they call Evangelions, but that comes from Adam and Eve. You know, there's a lot of fucked up like Christian, Jewish, Kabbalah shit that's also embedded in all these anime shit. It's all kind of like CPC party activities. I don't know how would I even like get in contact with someone? Hey, I want to help out with China. I feel like if I were to go to China and be like, "Hey, let me help you with communism," they'd be like, we got it handled, bro." You're kind of preaching to the priests. You're not preaching to the choir, you're preaching to the fucking priests. I'm like, oh yeah, I should just enjoy communism. Well, I'll check that out. I don't think that it's much going on in Hong Kong, though. Is there? Maybe there is, because there's. Maybe I'll offer my services in beating up fucking pieces of shit like Joshua Wong. I'll be like kicking the shit out of fucking umbrella protesters. Be like, let's go, bitch. I'll use like Wing Chun to do it, using your own fucking culture to beat you fucks up. I've been practicing my chain punches or my roll punches. It's a lot of coordination involved, a lot of music stuff. But anyway, yeah, I said I'd leave, but yeah, I've been yapping for a while, but I'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. All right, see ya.